What's up, say this is Jeff.
This is David.
Hi, David.
Hi, Jeff.
What do you know about Ys?
I know that Ys is made by...
I'm glad that you know so much about it.
Nipponichi.
Nope.
Right?
Try again. Nope, that's not the one. They're the disc... Yes, Falcom. Nipponichi is the Disgaea people.
Okay, right, okay. Falcom.
Yes, the Ys series has been around forever.
I had it on Super Nintendo. It's a bad version of that game.
It predates Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. It literally invented the action RPG genre.
Yes.
It's even before Zelda. I think the first one was 80. Well, I think it's the same time as NES. Maybe like 84 or 85, something like that.
But it's a very, very long-running series.
It's a very long-running series. I've only watched... Basically, I've not played any of them. Actually, I haven't played a lot of Falcom's JRPGs. This is kind of a thing I've mentioned before, is that it's sort of like a blind spot in JRPG knowledge, is a lot of the Falcom stuff. So you have your Legend of Heroes and your Ys, which are the two main series that they do. So I've played probably about 30 hours of Legend of Here, the Trails in the Sky,
and then I played
about 20 hours of Trails of Cold Steel 1, and those are more, let's say, traditional JRPGs. Although Trails of Cold Steel is a little bit more Persona flavored because it has like a go and talk to your friends and hang out with them, a little bit of that mixed in with the dungeon crawl and tactical battles and whatnot. But this is an Ys game, and it's an action RPG.
Right.
This is the Switch version, which is great because I played on the bus. Ys is a real thing, well, a real mythological thing. It's like a sunken city, kind of like Atlantis. It's just much fewer letters than Atlantis.
Right.
All of them feature Adol Kristen. There's our little red-haired sword boy.
The man
Dogi,
who destroys boats.
Yep. The premise for this is simple and it's great, but you and Dogi and a bunch of people are on a ship and then get attacked by a kraken and then you shipwreck. So just go explore the island and look for survivors and collect people together into a patchwork sort of village.
Hold on.
Yes.
What is on your arm?
I think those are sleeves. We have some other characters we have with us. There's some costumes. This dude's pirate costume I much prefer. This is I think that is one of that is a chibi version of Dark Fact at the end of the first game.
The villain from the first game?
Yes. The cosmetics that you can get for your characters are great. I will take that off later. This is an alternate costume, and
right.
I feel like actually I prefer the sunglasses on Laxia. She's the fencer lady there. And then I like the deserted pirate outfit for Sahad there.
Why were you letting yourself get hit?
I'm trying to get a parry.
Right.
It's not working. Everything is very fast in this game,
right?
Which is sort of a hallmark of the series. There's lots and lots of ability spam.
Right.
You have basic ground combo, air combo, and then you have dodge roll, and then parry or block, which can do flash guard. It's called flash guard, but you know what it really means. If you dodge through an attack, you get flash move, which gives you slows down time for the enemies, and then speeds all of your moves up, so it's kind of a double effect. And then the flash guard is if you block right at the moment when you get hit, and you get 100% crit rate while the little timer runs out, and you can stack those buffs on top of each other. So this is the kind of game that if you are very good, you can go through without getting hit at all. And it has a bunch of difficulty modes, the highest of which like Nightmare or Inferno or something. And it's fine. I find that the game is pretty enjoyable on hard difficulty for bosses, but then otherwise just kind of easy, and you just kind of switch back and forth. Because
so you
can
switch
around
it after you start.
Yeah, you can switch unless you're on the absolute hardest difficulty. You can switch whenever you want, which I find is a little bit better because I want a boss fight to not necessarily just be spam and then you win and you don't even get to see anything that they do.
Right, but you
But
also don't
just
want
going
farming
around-
to be a nightmare.
Yeah, just going around exploring, fighting some monsters, because a lot of the game is actually just exploring. So like literally you're filling in the map, so you're trying to fill in the actual map, collect all the items, get the
Right.
treasures, find the people. Some are story related, you know, you have to go through. There's
So I see you're picking up a lot of stuff.
stuff just pops out of enemies. It's great.
You've picked up like several gallons of mucus.
Yes,
Why?
that is true. Well, because it came out of the enemies and it made a pleasant sound when I picked it up. It's like ding 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 ding.
Ah, and it's used for.
Well, since you're on an island, you collect people, and the people that you collect have different abilities. That was pushing the stick in a little bit too hard, making me out of map from here. We'll ignore that. But you'll have people that can craft, you know, new weapons and items and armor and whatnot. So that's how you know, there is shops, kind of.
Right.
It's more like just the merchant lady will trade items and you can
It's
find like
shops in
pearls
the sense,
and
but
things.
you don't actually have money, and it's more like, oh, I'm giving you stuff, and now you will trade me
or
the stuff for
you're
items.
trading, yeah. Dogi is here too. He's the one that's responsible for like all the construction and maintenance and like inventory of the actual town.
Why don't you
So-
get to have him in your party?
I know you don't get it. Although this is the game that, if you've ever wondered what it'd be like to see Dogi punch a dinosaur, that does happen in this game. I'm sorry I do not have footage of that to provide for you, but
I've always wondered what if Dogi punched a dinosaur.
yeah. What if Dogi punched a dinosaur?
Is that
What
a?
if?
Okay, I thought those
That's a
rocks were a
Flophouse thing.
pile of.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, that was a Flophouse thing.
Yes, in case people are confused. Not specifically Dogi punching the dinosaur, but dinosaur related nonetheless.
Yes. So, is this game
fishing.
fun?
This game is very fun.
Okay.
It is. There's a lot to like about this JRPG. I like the general loop of just, you know, go fight some new monsters, maybe catch some fish, get some treasure,
Queen
explore the
Bola.
island, you know, solve a mystery. There's it changes it up just enough so that there's, you know, there's some variety. Like this is the basics of it. So this is how you interact with the game, right? You have your characters. You have 3 characters in your party. You can switch between them, and then there's just 2 AI modes. It's just offensive, defensive. Defensive means they do not attack, and offensive means they do, but they also can't die. It's only the character that you're controlling that can die.
Okay.
So there's
Can they take
like the
damage
blue-
though?
They can take chip damage, but as soon as they get to a point where they would die, they do not attack anymore if they're on offense mode. The damage doesn't count against you for things that count for damage, which is another thing. So like it starts adding other stuff you can do. Like your town will start getting attacked by, you know, monsters, and then you have to do they call them raids. I was like, there's raids. I was like, well, I'm not that
Oh no,
kind of raid.
it's horde mode kind of.
Yeah,
You're
it's just a horde
defending
mode where-
meat, right?
Yeah, you defend the town, and then you can put up like barricades and poisoned meat, and you can have like gongs, and you can improve the defenses, and there's like 3 or 4 waves, and you get that one is a lot more arcadey because there's constantly like points popping off of things, and you get bonuses for getting parries and not getting hit and all this kind of thing. And you get an S rank at the end, and if you get an S rank, you know, you get extra unique rewards.
Does the S rank involve you not taking damage, or just the town taking less damage?
You not taking damage. So
Okay.
each round has bonuses. Bonuses are provided by if you
Dogi.
use a super.
Mhm.
So the super is the yellow glow behind the skills in
Okay.
the bottom right. So that's a super. So you can use a super at any time. It's invincible. Not basically screen clearing. Not quite. It does a lot of damage. Getting a parry, getting a dodge, which is kind of like Witch Time from Bayonetta, and killing all of the enemies before they die, or I don't know, it's weird. I don't actually know how. I think they just time out, but and then the last one is no damage. So you can stack all of those bonuses.
Oh, killing the enemies before they time out. Okay, it took me a
Yeah,
second to
I was
parse that.
Because I was like, there's clearly a way where if you take too long on some enemies, they just like wander off, and
Right.
it doesn't count. Which I thought was kind of weird because they're trying to attack you. It seems like it's supposed to be coordinated. But anyways,
Sure.
you're on your mysterious deserted island that it's protected by an ancient kraken, and it turns out that there's dinosaurs here. They call them primordials, but
They're dinosaurs.
yeah, they're dinosaurs.
Okay.
The subtitle, which is called Lacrimosa of Dana, or as they keep pronouncing it, Dana, which is just weird.
Well, I mean, they can say the word however they want.
I suppose they can. They also have a character called ricotta, like the cheese, but they pronounce it ricotta. I'm just
Because
like,
it's a pun if they say ricotta. It's just on the nose if they
But
say
it's-
ricotta.
but it's not like she's like into cheese or anything.
Is she
'Cause it's
cheesy?
Sweet cut. Look at that. It's so
Ooh.
no, not cheesy. She's adorable. she's like the feral child kind of trope of where she was
okay.
like born on the island and doesn't really know what her real parents are, but she was raised by like an adventurer that washed up, not Adol, but another one. But she just learned. So she learned about society by going and reading all the books that washed up on shore from the wrecked ships. So she's very precocious and she has cat ears and a tail, but it's just part of her costume that she made. So it's just like little leaf ears and like a little pinned on tail. Anyways, she's adorable. She has like double maces. Another thing you can do in the game is night explorations. These are harder in that you can't use fast travel, so you have to go basically through a whole area from save point to save point without like fast traveling. It also has super amazing dope music, which we're going to listen to right now. Yeah. As soon as they said we're gonna do a night mission, and I was like, all right, let's see what is the pleasant night music of this area.
Nope.
And then this dope D&B track starts going. I'm like, yeah, I should expect that because it's a Falcom game,
Yeah,
and there's double time butt rock, and there's like electronic stuff. It's good. There's lots of good fist
All
pumping
these
music.
games are pretty consistent about that.
They've got a style, and it works well. This particular song I'm actually very into. But yeah, this is just one of the other things you can do. So you have raids. They add a variation of raids later where you go out and fight monster nests. So it's more like point capture, where you have to like destroy monster. Well, actually more like Gauntlet, like the original Gauntlet, where there's monster spawners and you have to
Destroy the
go
layers.
on the offensive, destroy all the layers before continuing that kind of thing. The people you recruit all have weird like special abilities. Like occasionally, like the whole field will just explode because like Dodie threw a bunch of rocks or something.
Nice.
As it happens sometimes.
So
You
I
can
want to
do
point out
these-
the synth voice we were just listening to, not this one, but that weird quavery, like kind of distorted one. That one. I love
Yes,
that.
it's very good.
So good.
I'm very into that synth sound.
Yeah.
I was very happy to hear the synth music in this particular part. So this is the night missions is like an optional thing that you can do for some side missions, but it's just a harder way. It counts towards that. I'm very bad at it. There we go. That's what I'm meant to do. That's the one. So you go through and you collect it has a bunch of better treasures, harder enemies, that whole kind of deal. The actual other half of the game is actually Dana's story, as I kind of alluded to earlier. The actual subtitle is about her. She's on the title screen.
Right.
You first meet her through dreams, where Adol has dreams of just a girl and her friends from the Kingdom of Eternia, learning to be high priestesses of like the Great Tree, etc., etc. The first few times it's just pleasant music with like sort of like sepia toned sort of motion graphics. You eventually get to play as Dana in the flashback era. And the main story is about her and what happened to her,
about to go fishing?
kingdom. I am. I'm gonna be fishing right now. Yeah. Well, so you start to dream. You dream about her, and no one else has dreams besides Adol. But then also in the past, she has visions of the future where she sees what you're doing. So there's some like timeline shenanigans that start to happen. So I'm deeply into that. We can see a little bit of Dana here, some Dana action. We're gonna do a little boss fight in one of Dana's chapters here, or Donna's chapters. So this is just like first time in to give a sort of like a, I don't know, like a impression of how it usually goes.
I will say if they say the character's name in the game, even if it's not right, I generally go with it.
Should probably say Donna.
Yeah. Except for Aerith, never. But
well, they also don't say it in the game. Also, in the game, it's spelled Aerith.
Right.
In this particular chapter, this is just like secret underground area, you know, hidden deep beneath, which is its own like sub-dungeon kind of thing, where it's like go deeper as you do missions in Donna's world. But they're just little girls playing hide and seek, and one of them is stuck inside here. So
okay.
So this is me trying to figure out what are the moves that this guy does, and then how to block and dodge them.
Ooh, you got
a little bit better. I got the double stack. Always like that. Donna has a. Well, this is her super. I'm gonna say the ability I have on her, the X command there, which is the top of the 4 in the bottom right. It causes her to just go into just like a boost mode where it just drains your SP, which is just your
the gold
blue bar. Yeah. Well, no, the gold bar is only for supers. The blue bars you get by attacking enemies. Huh. You also get full blue bar by doing a parry, so it'll just fill it up immediately.
Okay. So as long as you're parrying properly, you just have infinite.
As long as you're doing damage and you're getting parries, you can keep the specials going forever's. Do that one finally.
This guy's reminding me a little bit of a certain gargoyle, or 6.
Or 6. There's only one of this guy.
That's nice. I do like her crazy
certainly a little toasty
swords, though. Those are fun.
I do have a lot of I do have a lot of healing items, but I'm not really interested in wasting a bunch of healing items right now. Spoilers, I will die and then come back, and the second time, that will be the time.
That'll be when you got it.
Yes, they'll definitely get it that time.
I mean, you're doing pretty okay right now.
I really like the story of this game. It's simple, Adel and Dogi, just having good old fun times. Mostly pleasant, just kind of, you know, I died. Oh, that's alright. I know I've got the knowledge now. Got that knowledge.
Learned.
Yes. It's fairly long. There's lots and lots of places to explore. I like to focus on exploration.
Right.
I would compare this to another Switch JRPG I am playing at the same time.
Oh, which one is that, Jeff?
The old Octopath Traveler. I will say I have lots of thoughts on Octopath Traveler, but this is not the video for that. No. I'll just say that in comparison, there is so much like quality of life things in this game that make it very easy to just recommend. So it's like you can save anywhere. You don't have to do save points. You know, obviously there's no random battles or anything. But not just that you can save anywhere, which is very convenient. It's that it only takes like 2 clicks to get into the save screen, and it's like 4 clicks to get into the save screen, save, and then be back into the game. So you can just hit like menu button, menu shortcut, and then A, and then there you go. You save the game, you're back. Ooh. I was like, these little things, they add up. They're like little conveniences. You can skip all cutscenes, but you can also fast forward through all cutscenes. Which is like, I was like, okay, I'm glad that they added that. That's nice.
Right.
That wasn't necessary.
Fast forward past the part you already saw or whatever.
Exactly. So you can it has a very good journal. It's like very good keeping track of all of the enemies you fought, what items come out of them. You can cross-reference the items themselves, and it'll tell you what enemies they came out of. It gives you, anime portraits of all the characters, their backstories, these stories so far, kind of on each of their little things. There's just a lot of nice, just helpful things.
So, in terms of the characters, are they all written well?
Yes.
Okay.
I like the characters. They are all endearing.
Okay.
There's nothing that is. I mean, Adel technically talks, but I mean it's you know, it's your silent protagonist kind of style where they don't actually have voiced lines except for grunts.
Did you just completely miss because he's
I
in
did.
the air?
I'm very sad about what's happening right now because a little bit of it hit him. It would have killed him
if he hadn't have been in the air.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Adol's, you still like pick responses that represent what Adol's saying is just he doesn't actually have voice lines, so it's a little bit weird, but that's fine. All the other characters are
from a game that came out before I was born, I think.
Yeah, they'll have fully voiced lines. It depends on, you know, like the cutscene level. You know, you have your like level 2 cutscenes, which are just dialogue, and then your level 1 cutscenes, which are actually like fully voiced, and that's all nice. Which we'll actually see a little bit here, because I mean, there's a lot of going around talking to folks, doing, you know, little side quest missions for them. Donna's chapters are especially a little bit more like that because she's in the time when the, you know, like the kingdom was flourishing and there's people around. So there's more people to talk to and just kind of wander around. It's more traditional, just walk around, talk to people, see what's going on, do a side quest for them.
Civilization does tend to indicate population.
Yeah, we're in Adol's time, everything is in ruins, which is also, from a game design standpoint, a good way to get double mileage out of your environments. So
right.
They do the day-night as separate maps, and then they'll also do like past future as separate versions too. Cool. This little I guess monument has a quick history of the Kingdom of Eternia. So we'll get a quick little backstory thrown in here. Cool. I have not seen what I've played. I've watched people play like the first 2 East games, the ones that actually were about East, I think, which was Flying City in that particular one. The Goddesses of East and Dark Fact, which is a stupid name, but
it's also
he's
amazing.
He's been turned into a plushie, and you can put him on your shoulder.
Something to be stated about the original East games is there was no attack button.
That's true.
You ran into enemies.
Combat.
Yeah, the bump and grind combat. You ran into enemies and you killed them.
This is accurate. You can, I never play, well, I guess I watched other people play Wanderers from East, and then Memories of Salsetta, and East Origins, which is like a remake kind of thing.
East 1 and 2, yeah.
East 1 and 2. Haven't ever seen in 4 or 5, and haven't seen any of 7, really. So this is really like the first one of the East games I've actually played. It's pretty fun. Yeah. Recommended.
As I said, I played the Super Nintendo port of Wanderers from East. Don't do that.
Fair enough. This doesn't seem to have the bleak leveling cliffs that some of the other games had, where like being within a level or 2 of the enemies you're fighting is necessary, because if you're like 2 or 3 levels away from them, then you just like they're immune to your attacks.
Right.
It doesn't seem like that's the case.
The Xenoblade problem.
Yeah, the Xenoblade problem, which it's not quite that. It's not that vicious. There's not that kind of cliffs. Anyways, there's a little history of Eternia.
That's good.
It's different than the stories that were told. What could it mean?
This account seems slightly different from the story we were told as
a lot of the characters, the castaways that you find are just great little side characters. There's like Kathleen, the blacksmith, who's great. There's a very, very vicious grandma who's amazing. Let's see. There's like an adorable little girl that wears a coat that's way too big for her.
I'm liking all of these so far.
There's whoever this is, yeah. Whoever this is. It's also anime.
Yeah. No, East is very extremely anime. I believe in the very first East game, the blacksmith character looks like Goku with a shoulder pad. So.
Yep. Yeah. It seems about right. Wouldn't that just be Bartok?
It's really hard to stand one-legged like that for that long.
I know. Congrats for the keeping that going.
I also like that's where you end the video.
Well, I mean the video that's where I end the preview version of the video that we're watching.
Right.
I've got extra footage. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the go behind the curtain.
Behind the curtain.
cut the video early, and then the podcast portion at the end of the video has footage I can put behind it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
there's some other things that because I recorded for about an hour ish.
Okay.
There's some other stuff, just wandering around, exploring, fighting, doing some night missions, going out, there's side quests. You can chat with the people in town. It's all pretty straightforward. I don't think any of it is particularly revolutionary. It's just very fun and well refined. I'd say you can get a lot of the type of action game it is. You can tell a lot of the type of action game that a game is by seeing what happens to your character when you just spin the movement stick in a circle rapidly.
Right.
So this is the kind of game where spinning your movement stick in a circle rapidly will cause them to match the movement 1-to-1. Because
Nice.
everything is very precise. You can turn on a dime. It's more important that the controls are more important than animation.
So I think it was the president for Falcom at the time was actually interviewed and was asked about how they go about making an Ys game. And he said that the very first thing they do with every Ys game is they work on movement.
Yes.
If movement is not fun and fluid and very easy to grasp and accomplish, then they don't proceed from that step.
That is a thing that I constantly think about when playing this game, because it's simple, but it's very effective. So just the ability to you can jump, dodge, witch time, parry. Technically, you can also run if you just hold in the dodge button, which is more useful when you get speed boots, so that you just run faster when running. But you also get adventuring gear, which is your power ups basically. Where it's now you can climb this thing. Now you can, like I said, you can run faster. You can collect items from a distance by learning recipes, cooking them, and then feeding them to a weird mascot character that's hiding out in a cave and is very hungry. Also, fishing is very important because you want to get at least one of each kind of fish in the game so that you can give it to Shoebill, which is a giant bird that helped raise the girl, Rakota.
What?
And it loves fish, and every time you feed it a new kind of fish, it will look at you with the various levels of satisfaction, and then at certain intervals, it will give you special items.
So it's like a shoebill pelican, and so
Yes,
yeah,
it's
okay.
a Shoebill pelican. It's great because it doesn't talk to you, although the little girl character can understand it anyways.
Of course.
It just says the Shoebill is staring directly at you, which is great. When I was you're just exploring you're just exploring the village one day, and on the map it shows you points you can interact with, and usually those are people or interaction points. And I was I wonder what's up here, and there's a little flower garden, and then there's a giant pelican taller than Adol, and it just says the Shoebill is staring at you. And then the menu comes up and would you feed it fish? I was well, I have been fishing a lot, so yes.
So here's some fish, I guess.
Here's some fish. It's great. The main characters that you have on your party, Laxia is very good. Her introduction's a little anime tropey, grown-worthy, but she makes up for it pretty quickly, which is good because if it just stayed that way, it would be very annoying. Which it's a Japanese thing, but it might be a Falcom thing too, where it's just you just find her while she's bathing, and it's oh no, how you found me on bathing? How do you pervert or whatever? And then slaps Adol, and it's extremely corny and groany. And I'm just literally everyone is almost dead because they were attacked by a kraken, and you're just going around trying to find people. Can we get past this? Also, Adol's been doing this for 30 years. I mean, sure, he basically looks identical. He's in his own fiction, he has literally been all around the world and has been done all these bizarre things in different continents.
Yeah.
Self-described adventurer. Has helped a few goddesses, destroyed kind of world-ending evils, done a whole bunch of stuff, and is happiest when shipwrecked, probably.
He's never made a boat crossing successfully, ever.
So yes, it's better after that. Her story becomes a little bit more interesting. She has some daddy issues, and
what? Really?
But
shocking.
Yeah, shocking. But she has a knowledge of like dinosaurs, basically. Dad was kind of like a paleontologist type. Obsessed with studying dinosaurs, so she has like all of this knowledge that people don't, that she thought would be completely useless, and that she actually sort of is resentful of, because
Right.
she would rather have a dad than just being shipped around everywhere for like crazy obsessed scientist dad person. Ended up picking up this knowledge, but it's useful to her. So it's like the elements of character development, right?
Weird.
It's nice. Sahad is the big dude. He's a fisherman, and he's very jovial, and his type is just like the simpleton, and maybe it's like gregarious,
Right.
Like, always, but also like his the stupid jokes are usually him just like farting or something.
Okay.
And then Laxia, who's a noble, I was like, okay, this is not like super advanced, conflicts, but it's like, I get it. It's fine.
Well, I mean,
also,
everything...
it's endearing because
Right.
Sahad is like, oh yeah, I'm married and I have a kid and I want to get back to them. And they're like, oh, you have a daughter? So then when you get like other young girls that you save, he's like really good with kids, and they have like this great rapport, and it's like a surrogate sort of like niece.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, like every character can be tropey as long as it's a well-executed trope. It doesn't matter.
Even the guy with the gun we saw briefly, is like he has like so many belts. It's like a Nomura design, right? And he's like the edgelord, like I'm dark and mysterious, and I have my own goals, and our goals align for now. So I guess I'll be with you. And like, oh, I'm going off my own way, and then he leaves the party, and he'll come back. He's like always carrying around this briefcase and talking about duty and how he's gonna deliver. He's a transporter, and his life and his honor is his job. But then even he's like meets a little girl, and she's just like, "You're so cool. Can I have a high five?" And it's like, yes.
I was about to say, so it's kind of like Vegeta levels of edgelord, but then you're like, he high-fived the little girl. I was like, okay.
Yeah, he like high-fives the little girl. I'm like, all right, that's fine. And you find out, I mean, I don't know, you don't need to, I won't spoil all the story, but as his story goes along and you find out more about him, it's there's sort of there's a level of ridiculousness to him that he's not necessarily self-aware, but you can appreciate it and be like, he's not an edgelord. It's more like maybe that's just his personality.
Right.
He's personable just like anyone else, which is good. It's just an enjoyable, pleasant time. You just fight some monsters and watch Dogi punch a dinosaur and have some time travel shenanigans with some dope music. Like, there you go, video games.
Yeah.
it's kind of what I want in a video game.
This is kind of what I want in video games in general. I've literally only played the one Super Nintendo one, which is not a bad game, but it's not like any of the other Ys games. So
yeah, Ys has been a series that's been in a bunch of weird places. Like for a long, I mean, there's like probably like PC Engine or something, and then like
I think that's where it started. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like there's like a Super Nintendo one, but then there's like I don't know, it's like PSP and Vita ones or something like that, and I never had those. There's PC ones, but they're finally releasing a lot of them, localizing them too, so like they're on Steam now as well. Falcom's put a bunch of their RPGs out, which is nice. They have like all their Trails of Cold Steel and stuff. But yeah, they do a lot of the Ys stuff. Like I played their Xanadu Next game, which is another it's derived from Dragon Slayer, which I guess was even earlier on, like 1984 or 1983, which I think that one might actually literally be the first action RPG style of kind of, well, whatever. These games have their own sort of style. It's they have their own identity, and other games are like them. sort of, rather than the other way around. I mean, obviously there's cross-pollination. That's the nature of how these things work. But there's a lot to be owed to the East games and the Falcom games. They're just not as well known. But if you ever wanted to try one out, why not this one?
Right. I double checked. So the first East game came out the year after I was born. So the series is not quite as old as I am. And it came out on the PC 8801.
Let's see, when did the original Dragon Slayer came out?
And the one I played
was
it was
84. Yeah, I think that was very, very old. I think Dragon Slayer is what became Legend of Heroes series. Anyways, very, very, very long series. The East series are not connected. They take place in the same world, but the actual plots are not actually, generally speaking, follow one another. It's just the adventures of Adol, Christian, and Doki as they basically just get shipwrecked on every continent in the world, and then solve a problem there and collect some treasure.
Isn't one of the East games, doesn't it not star Adol and Doki?
I don't know. I'm
Stars
not an expert.
Like edgelord with a claw, I think, is one of the characters.
You're thinking of Tales of Berseria, which is also very good.
No.
That's Tales of Berseria. So here's a fun thing, which I will probably cut in. Actually, I'll get a video of it so that, I'll cut it in later, but I'll send one to you as well. Mm-hmm. The item get sound from Ys is, I think, one note off from the item get sound in Metroid. So I was listening to it and I was like, yeah, that's the Ys, item get sound. I've heard that a bunch of times. And I was like, wait, that sounds very familiar.
Yep.
So it's very similar arpeggios. The East one kind of has it starts in the middle, dips down, then goes back up. The Metroid one starts at the root and then goes up, and the East one ends on a weird off-keyed note, maybe some augmented thing or something.
It starts on a chord that's not the root.
And the Metroid one kind of sounds like it resolves a little bit more cleanly, but other than that, it seems like those are the same notes. Anyways, really makes you think. The end.
It sounds similar and yet legally distinct.
Legally distinct, very important. Very important.
Yes, very, very important. Legally distinct.
That's Ys 8.
So if you like this video and like the other videos that you make, feel free to go to our Patreon where you can support us every month. And if you can't do that, a one-time PayPal tip is fine. And if you can't do that, just do the comment, subscribe thing. Tell people about our videos. That's how word gets out.
Ys.
Yeah. Ys.
I don't have an end. I don't have any ending. That's basically it.
That's it.
I think that's it. I'll stop recording now.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll stop too.